Alright, well hey, this is my second video. I hope you liked the first one talking about zaps. I realize zaps are a bit more advanced and you don't necessarily need them when you're starting out in trials. They do make some things a lot easier, but today I want to talk about something that's a little bit more useful from beginner up until, well, I mean, let's face it, you'll probably use it all the way through the rest of your trials career, and that is the double blip. It's a very useful technique for getting up and over a multitude of obstacles. And so today we're going to break that down just a little bit, show some different examples of how leg pressure can change how the front end carries over an obstacle during the double blip, and we'll go over a couple different size obstacles so you can see anywhere from beginner to I'm an intermediate rider, and it would definitely cover anything I have to hit in competition, and even up and beyond what I normally see in competition. So it's something that I learned on one of these, and it works great on dirt bikes. It's a very common technique on dirt bikes, but it works in the trials world excellent, and it's one of the, in my opinion, one of the core foundational skills that you'll need to get up and over obstacles. So let's take a look at some different examples. Okay, so I just showed 3 examples on a small beginner-friendly log of the double blip technique. In the first example, I held my legs firm, which kept the rear tire on the ground and lets you hold the wheelie and drive up and over the log. In my second example, I de-weighted when my back tire hit the log. And de-weighting essentially means I'm loosening the tension of my legs so that the rear end of the bike can come up to me instead of being driven down into the ground where if I held my leg firm. That can be really helpful and work really well on like ledges and stuff like this. That way the rear tire can hit and bounce up to the top of it instead of having to be on the ground and try to climb up it. The third example would be like if I needed to turn right away after the log, or whatever else where I need the front tire down right away. So the third example, I came up, still gave it good throttle for my first blip, but then the second blip I went with a very light throttle, and as soon as I knew my bash plate was clear and I could feel my rear tire just start to climb up the log, I pulled the clutch in and let the bike come back down. Now it does bring the front end down a little bit abruptly, but it lets you be ready to turn immediately. Even before your rear tire gets all the way over the log, I could start turning, maneuvering if I had to turn right after the log, or whatever else might cause you to need the front end down right away. So those are just 3 really basic examples of using the double blip technique on a very small log, and how changing your body form just a little bit can yield you different results for different scenarios. Next, I'll show a couple examples on some slightly larger obstacles, large being relative as I am just an intermediate rider, but nonetheless for me some slightly larger obstacles. And we'll see some of those same techniques used on slightly bigger logs, and you can see how this technique can definitely, especially if you're a beginner, carry you through for probably a couple years before you even need to learn the zap. However, at the very end of the video I will show one example where, to me, the zap takes more commitment, but it makes for a slightly smoother ride sometimes. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so this last example is going to be where I'm going to show, for me at my skill level right now, a situation where I'm more comfortable with the zap than I am the double blip. I have successfully gotten up this wall behind me using a double blip, but when it comes to logs, the logs in the video, and the log in the video is probably about this high, that's about where my comfort level with the double blip ends and where I'd rather transition to a zap. The reason is, the next example, even though you just previously saw me get over it in a double blip smoothly, because I don't practice it enough there, my technique's not perfectly smooth every time, sometimes I'll end up coming in and I'll hit the bash plate, which the log I'm showing it on isn't horrible because the log's fairly flat. However, if the log was angled at all, or if there's a rough patch that grabbed a hold of your bash plate, it can cause the whole bike to kick sideways and you'll end up just going over the bars just like that. Whereas you can see when I show the zap, there's just no chance of your bash plate hitting on that front or top part of the log, and you're going to get over it clear every time. So this is one example where I think zaps do start coming in handy for logs. Like I said, double lip will still get you up and over a wall this high if you do it right. Alright, so that's it for the video. I hope you found some of it informational. Hope it helps you out some, gives you some new ideas on some things you can hit using the double blip and some different ways you can vary up the technique. Hope you enjoyed the video. I guess I'll do the stupid, typical YouTube thing. If you like it, hit the like button, subscribe, blah, 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 whatever. Don't really care. I just hope you guys can, find this a little bit helpful and, help you, up your game a little bit as a beginner. All right, that's it.